New Year's Eve, 2025. 11:59 p.m. I remember the exact time because I kept checking it like it mattered. I was alone in my apartment, not the I love my peace kind of alone, the kind where the silence feels personal, like it's aimed at you. The TV was running quietly in the background, some New Year's broadcast with a crowd screaming in another city. I had it low enough that I could still hear the radiator clicking and popping, like it was trying to talk. Outside my window, fireworks were already starting. Not the pretty midnight kind, the impatient kind. Random pops, random flashes, like the city was testing its voice. My phone vibrated on the coffee table. Not a call at first, just a single dry buzz. I glanced at it. Unknown number. I stared for a second and decided not to answer. I didn't have the energy for some drunk friend, or a wrong number, or someone asking where I was. It buzzed again. Unknown number. Then the countdown began on the TV. The host's voice got louder. The crowd behind him started chanting. 10, 9, 8, and I don't know why I did it. But I reached out and answered the call. At first, I thought the audio didn't connect. No voice, no greeting, just breathing, slow, controlled. Too steady to be drunk, too close to be normal. It sounded like the phone was pressed right against someone's lips. I pulled my phone slightly away from my ear and looked at it like that would explain anything. Then I heard a whisper. Not a shout, not a prank voice. A calm whisper that sent a cold line straight down my back. Happy New Year. You're not supposed to be alone tonight. My throat went dry instantly. I tried to speak, but the TV got louder again. 3, 2, 1, midnight. Fireworks detonated outside like the sky cracked open. People on TV screamed like they were being rescued. And at the exact moment the year changed, my apartment lights shut off. Not the whole building, not the TV, just my unit. The room dropped into sudden black, lit only by the television glow and the pale rectangle of my phone screen. The call ended. I sat there frozen, phone still at my ear, listening to nothing. Then my phone vibrated again. Missed call, my own number. I stared at it until my eyes started watering. That's when my brain tried to save me. I told myself it was a glitch, a weird carrier thing, a scam caller spoofing numbers. I laughed once, short and sharp, because laughing is easier than admitting you're scared in your own living room. Then I noticed the voicemail notification. One new voicemail. Timestamp, 12:01 a.m. That didn't make sense. It had just turned midnight. I tapped it. The voicemail was 3 seconds long. No words, just breathing. That same close, wet breathing, like someone was smiling into the microphone. I sat there and listened to it 3 times. On the 3rd time, I noticed something that made my stomach tighten. There was a faint sound behind the breathing, like fabric shifting, like someone moving. Not on the street, not outside. Inside. I didn't want to look behind me. I didn't even want to blink, because the TV light was flickering on the walls. And for a second, I thought I saw a shadow that didn't match mine. I turned the TV volume up, too loud, just to fill the apartment with noise. The host kept yelling Happy New Year, and I kept staring at my dark hallway. Eventually, the building lights came back on by themselves. Everything looked normal, but the air felt different, heavier, like I wasn't alone anymore. The next morning, I called my carrier. I gave them the exact time, the exact number, told them it came from my own number. There was keyboard tapping, hold music, more tapping. Then the rep came back and said something in a tone that felt rehearsed. There's no record of that call ever being made. Not incoming, not outgoing, nothing. I checked my call log while I was on the phone. The missed call from my number, gone, like it never happened. But the voicemail was still there. I played it again, holding the phone away from my face this time. 3 seconds, breathing. Then right at the end, so faint I almost missed it, a whisper. One word, soon. That's what broke me, because that wasn't a glitch. That wasn't a scam. That sounded like a promise. Every New Year since, I turn my phone off before midnight. I don't put it on silent. I turn it off. But here's the truth. At 12:01 a.m., even with my phone off, sometimes it still vibrates. Once, dry and quiet, like something is knocking from the other side of the screen. And the worst part? If I hold it up to my ear, I swear I can still hear breathing. My wife and I weren't big on celebrations. We used to be. When we were younger, we'd go out, do the whole thing, crowds, noise, pictures. But that year, we were tired. Life had been heavy in a way we didn't talk about out loud. So we stayed in. We cooked something simple. We put on a movie. She fell asleep halfway through it, curled into the corner of the couch with a blanket pulled up to her chin. I remember looking at her and feeling grateful. Not for the holiday, just for her being there. Around 11 p.m., she stood up slowly, like her bones were heavier than usual. "I'm going to bed," she said. "Wake me at midnight." "I will," I promised. I watched her walk down the hall. She turned back once and smiled. That smile is the last normal thing I remember. At 11:58 p.m., I went to check on her. The hallway was dark. The living room light spilled out behind me in a soft rectangle. She was in bed on her side, facing the wall. The blanket rose and fell gently. I leaned in close, careful not to wake her, and whispered, "Happy New Year." No reaction. That didn't scare me yet. Outside, fireworks began to build. At first, small pops, then louder, then constant. The windows rattled, the glass trembled. But my wife didn't flinch. I touched her hand. Cold, not sleep cold. Cold like something that's been left out in winter. My brain tried to explain it. Poor circulation, air conditioning. The window cracked open. But my hand wouldn't let go. I kept holding her fingers like my skin was trying to pull warmth back into her. I turned the lamp on. Her eyes were open. Not blinking, not wet. Just open and fixed, like she was staring at something in the wall that I couldn't see. My stomach turned so fast I felt dizzy. I said her name, louder. Nothing. I shook her shoulder gently, then harder. Nothing. The fireworks outside hit midnight. People shouting, car horns, distant music. And in my bedroom, there was only silence. I called 911 with hands that couldn't type. I remember dropping my phone once. I remember picking it up and seeing the time. 12 a.m. The new year. Paramedics arrived. They were calm the way professionals are calm when you're breaking apart. One of them checked her pulse, checked again, looked at the other guy and shook his head. I watched their faces change. They didn't say it right away. They let the silence say it first. Finally, one of them spoke softly. "I'm sorry." At the hospital, they gave me the official time, 11:57 p.m., 3 minutes before midnight. I kept staring at that number like time had cheated. Later, when I was signing paperwork, a nurse stood beside me. Older, tired eyes, like she'd seen too much life end. She lowered her voice like she was about to tell me a secret. "Sometimes people pass," she said, "and it takes a moment for the world to catch up." I didn't understand what she meant until I went home. The apartment looked exactly the same. Her blanket on the couch, her mug in the sink, her phone charger still plugged in by the bed. Like she was going to walk back in any second and ask why I looked like that. But the worst part was the messages. At 12 a.m., my phone blew up with Happy New Year texts. Family, friends, people I hadn't spoken to in months. "Hope 2026 is your year. New beginnings, blessings." And I wanted to scream at them because my wife never got to see 2026. Technically, she did. Her body was there, Her eyes were open, but she never lived in it. A week later, I was cleaning because I couldn't sit still. I found something under the bed, a small folded piece of paper. Then I realized it was her handwriting. Just 2 words, "Don't wait." That night I had a dream. I was in our bedroom again, the lamp on, fireworks outside. She was sitting up in bed, eyes open, staring at me. And she whispered, "Promise me you won't let it keep you." I woke up crying, and my phone sitting on the nightstand buzzed once. Timestamp on the screen, 12:01 a.m. In my town, there's this stupid tradition. At midnight, people run outside. They yell, they film, they make a mess of the street like the New Year is a party the whole world got invited to. It brings luck, they say. I never believed in luck. But that year I went out anyway. I stood near the sidewalk with a bunch of neighbors and watched fireworks bloom over the rooftops. When the countdown ended, everyone screamed. Champagne sprayed. Someone set off fireworks too close to the street. Kids laughed like they were bulletproof. And that's when I saw him, a man lying face down near the curb. Not in the middle of the road, like he'd been placed there carefully, just off to the side. I watched people step around him. One guy laughed and said, "Dude, you good?" Like it was a joke. No one moved. So I did. I pushed through the crowd and knelt down. The man didn't smell like alcohol. He didn't smell like anything. I touched his shoulder. His jacket felt stiff and cold, like it had been out in the snow too long. I turned him over, and my whole body went numb. He looked exactly like me. Same face, same build, same scar above the eyebrow, the one I got when I was a kid falling off a bike. Even the jacket was the same brand, same color, the same cheap zipper that always snagged at the collar. My brain refused it at first. I stumbled back and actually said out loud, "No." Someone screamed when they saw his face. An ambulance arrived, then police. A paramedic pulled his phone from his pocket and said, "We need to call someone." The phone vibrated in his hand. The screen lit up. Mom calling. My mother's name? My mother's photo. I reached into my pocket without thinking. My own phone was vibrating too. Same rhythm. Like both phones were ringing together. I didn't look at mine. I couldn't. Later at the station, a detective told me something that made my throat close. The dead man had my ID. Not similar, not fake looking, my exact ID. Same number, same photo, same expiration date. The detective didn't accuse me of anything directly. He just stared at me like he was trying to decide what reality he lived in. Then he slid a file across the table. Missing person report. The man had been reported missing months earlier, but the photo was me. Same face, just slightly different expression. Like the camera caught someone who didn't know how to be human yet. I left the station around 3 a.m. The street was empty now. Fireworks were done. The new year felt like it had already rotted. I sat in my car for a long time before I turned the key. Then my phone rang. Mom. I stared at it. My hands were shaking too hard to answer. Eventually, I hit decline. A voicemail appeared instantly. No audio transcription, just the file length. 3 seconds. I played it. Breathing, slow, controlled, and right at the end, my mother's voice whispering, "Why didn't you come home?" I haven't answered my mom's calls the same way since, because sometimes when it's ringing, I swear the vibration is too steady. Like it's not a phone ring, like it's a heartbeat. I promised myself 2026 would be different, not in the cheesy New Year, New Me way, in a desperate way, like a person standing on the edge of something, begging the universe for a different outcome. At midnight, I wrote down everything I wanted to leave behind, the mistakes I couldn't undo, the people I couldn't forget. the fear that sat in my chest like a stone. I folded the paper, held a lighter to it, and watched it burn. The flame ate the words first, like it knew which parts of me mattered. When it was done, I tapped the ashes into the sink. I whispered, "Not this year." I went to bed lighter than I'd felt in months. When I woke up, my phone said January 1st, 2025. I blinked hard, then I checked again. Same. I told myself it was a glitch, but the news was wrong too. Old headlines, old tragedies, a celebrity death I remembered being shocked by, happening today again. My messages were the same unfinished arguments, same unread texts from people I should have blocked. I tried to change things immediately. Different breakfast, different route, different choices, but the day kept snapping back into place, like the world was elastic. Every time I pulled away from the timeline, it yanked me back. By nightfall, it felt like I'd lived the same day twice, then 3 times, then 4. And the worst part? I started anticipating things before they happened. The exact moment the neighbor would slam the door. The exact time a friend would text a lie. Like deja vu, but sharper. Like punishment. On the 3rd night, I woke up at exactly 12:01 a.m. No reason, just awake. My phone screen was on. 1 new voicemail. Length, 3 seconds. I didn't listen. I didn't want to. I went into the kitchen to get water and froze. In the sink was the paper. Perfectly clean, not burned, not torn, like it had never touched fire. I picked it up with shaking hands. And on it, in my handwriting, was 1 word I swear I never wrote. Again. I dropped it like it was hot. The next day, I tried to stay awake until midnight. I told myself maybe if I witnessed the moment the loop reset, I could break it. I sat in the dark with my phone off. No TV, no music, just me and my breathing. At 11:59 p.m., I started sweating. At 12 a.m., nothing happened. No flash, no quake, no sound. I felt stupid. Then softly, from somewhere in the apartment, a vibration, not my phone. A vibration like something buzzing against wood, like a phone ringing inside the wall. I followed the sound to my bedroom closet. The vibration was coming from inside. I opened the door. There was nothing. No phone, no device, just hanging clothes and darkness. But the vibration continued, steady and close. Then I heard breathing, right behind the coats, and a whisper, "Happy New Year." I slammed the closet shut so hard the frame shook. My phone powered off, lit up. 1 missed call, unknown number. Timestamp, 12:01 a.m. And when I looked down at my palm, there was ink there, fresh. 2 words written as if someone had held my hand while I slept. Don't wait. If this year feels darker than the last, maybe it's not the year that changed. Maybe something followed you into it. And if you hear your phone buzz at 12:01 a.m., even when it's off, don't answer.